All right, we're back here on the bonus round at Comic-Con. It's me and my co-host, Kevin Smith. You learned a lot about games, right,
I did.
Kevin?
This was a real education, man. I enjoyed hearing about this stuff. I mean, it's one thing to play a game. You rarely think about how it's made, and these two gents gave us a complete education. They're going to keep giving us an education,
That's right.
but I know you want to clear something up.
I am not a mindless apologist for the cutscene.
But the cutscene does have...
It has its place.
But you see, some games like Half-Life, Skyrim don't really use cutscenes at all. But you guys are saying you think there is a role. The cutscene can add emotion, add drama that you can't get right now inside of a game?
It gives animators a place to express the subtleties of character movement and character expression. And that's a thing that right now in gameplay, no one can really do.
You'd be looking the other way.
Yeah,
you
like,
exactly.
Someone's talking to you and you're just spinning around with your gun, right? Because you're a dick. And sometimes you want to allow the player to mess with the system, but other times you kind of just, what if, something that you want to be dramatic happens. You either let the player mess with that or you don't.
Well, they sometimes do tricks where it's like a game, like you're stuck in a car, you're stuck in a vehicle, so you can't go anywhere, and even though you can sort of move your head, you can't really do anything else. Like even Skyrim, where you're on the car, it's like you're looking, but you're not. You can't run off and do whatever you want.
It has the feel, though, now, in terms of as games develop further, where there are mini games within the games and whatnot, and as the cutscene becomes less and less, that scene, it starts to feel like the vestigial tale of what's left of the evolution of storytelling from movies or books or comics or TV, traditional 3-act structure storytelling of like, well, you need scenes where they're talking to each other and whatnot. Whereas now, like if games could just let that go altogether, like you're saying, it becomes kind of you're immersed in the environment and there is no break and there is no kind of, I'm passively watching these characters do stuff. You maintain the
Dark Souls. The game you're describing is called Dark Souls and Demon Souls, and they are what you just described.
All the way through.
And they're from beginning to end. They're what games do better than anything. And
really?
They're amazing. Yeah.
How long can someone get lost in a game like that? Now, especially you've written a book on games, you've written games yourself. How many hours will you spend?
It's more like days. But,
really? Oh my Lord, man!
I'm over it. It's in my past.
But it happened. Did you beat it? Did you put it down?
I did.
How long did it take you to beat?
It was about 97 hours.
That's amazing. You'll never get him back.
No.
He's weeping. No, but that's an accomplishment, dude. I remember back in the day beating Rocky and Bullwinkle on a Sega Genesis and was like, now I could do anything. I want to make Clerks. This is a feeling of accomplishment.
But some people would say, games like those games are so simple. They, you don't need story. So you look at iPhone games, iPad games, and Jay and Silent Bob. It's probably a simple little story, but it's not
It's
great
true. You don't really
right?
break in the iPad realm or in the app realm. I guess that's kind of where the side scroller has gone to not die so much as live, and you don't really need little stitch between scenarios because it's all about I'm on the toilet for 10 minutes. I just want to make things fly.
It is a little more. It's deceptive because even when I saw that you guys launched I think it's the first time you guys have done
First time we did games, yeah.
And it resonates with me as a fan because I know Jay and Silent Bob and I know that world because there's all this other stuff that sort of builds that fiction. So to say that, we don't need I sat on a panel ages ago with the Lucas Arts guys who said, we don't really need story in our X-Wing game. It's like, yeah, you fucking do. It's just not in your game, but you come to that game with so much more.
They did all their work previously.
Exactly.
Like when you have a game that's coming off of an existing license or a movie or something like that, they've already done the heavy lifting, and then the game maker can just be like, this is an extension.
Here's Batman. You know who Batman is.
Yeah. You don't have to retell, like, guess what happened to his parents? It's so sad. You don't have to do that for 20 minutes in a game.
Right. But as you guys, as you work through sort of new games and stuff like that, do you feel, is the storytelling going to get better? Do you feel like technology is going to help improve it? Is it like bringing guys like you in, Tom, to write these games? I mean, it's like, what is,
Our games advanced to the place where a genius like yourself can now have a job in them.
Yes. Or you, Kevin, you can write a game.
They're still mystifying me. I just want to play them.
Well, you'll notice that, I review games a lot, and as I've gotten involved in this process, I complain about the bad writing a lot less frequently because I now realize how
tough it is.
And like how many things that are completely...
So what's bad writing? I mean, people are just like, is it bad dialogue? Is it? I mean, because there's so many different ways to talk about bad writing. Right? Somebody's bad voice acting.
Well, a lot of the dialogue in games is there to give the player some sort of feedback, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have a line of dialogue that both gives the player some actionable piece of information that they are going to understand that's also not klutzy, but also comes from an authentic place of the character that's saying it. Yeah. Doing all those three things at the same time is hard.
Right.
I mean,
And
it's
adapting
really
to gameplay
hard.
because you can't predict
Yeah.
necessarily where it's going to go,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
It's
So-
awesome that you used to review games or just write about them, and one day you were like, I'm tired of saying there's bad writing. I'm going to go do it myself. Did it come from there, or did you want to make games and then you wound up writing about games, then finally got to make games?
I had a whole career as a writer before this about all sorts of stuff, and games just sort of were the door that opened up that I walked into.
And so suddenly you're like, all the stuff I used to write about, now I'm going to kind of focus it here, and now I'm doing a different kind of writing than I used to do over here.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? You can spin a bunch of plates and really grow as an artist. And most people don't think of video games as a realm of artistry, but they absolutely are. There's so
I think
many,
increasingly,
so
I think
much
people
more
are being
artistry
attracted
going on.
to it now to be like, hey, it's like I can make my own contribution. So how will like this new Gears game? How is it going to be? What's your spin on it? How is it going to be different now that you're writing it?
Well, I don't want to like denigrate any of the Gears games, all of which I love, but I can
Other
say
people
that
have done that.
it's a different game in the way that it's framed. It's
Right.
it's a trial story, so it's a flashback. So the gameplay is actually
Series of flashbacks.
series of testimonials that people give, and these testimonials have narration. And so while you're playing, depending on what you do, the narration, the testimonial narration will change depending on what you do. So each time you play through your testimony, depending on the actions you take, the way that the game gets narrated to you is a little different. So it's a game that encourages replayability.
Like a
It's kind of-
Rashomon kind of thing?
Yeah, a little bit.
Nice to see. Once again, pulling from cinematic.
Gears of Rashomon a little bit.
Gears of
And,
Rashomon. Every
it's
film
not-
nerd in the world just their head just
it's not
exploded.
quite as pronounced as that, but it's
Right.
it's a very
Does
subtle.
it adapt?
Very,
Does the story adapt though to how you play?
the narration adapts to how you play, and
Okay.
the story kind of bounces off that a little bit.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Something different. So yeah, the story. So you replay and have a different experience every time you play a different story.
These are levels that are designed to be replayed either alone with friends, but when you play with friends, it's a real couch grabber.
Well, that's
you
the
know,
other thing now. It's like a lot of these games, they're co-ops. You're like 2, 3, 4 guys all going through the story together.
Right.
And instead of being the character being some AI-driven character, you've got actually your buddy on Xbox Live playing that character. All right, stick around. We've got more of the bonus round from Comic-Con 2012 with me and Kevin Smith.